breakfast. This is the life. Wait a sec. Isn't something important supposed to happen today? Oh, today's our big day! We're supposed to leave the Fortress of Mirapede! Come on! We've got to go complete the release procedures now!
Masquerade of the Guild.
What a sorry set. Please sign here. This document will be effective immediately upon signing, and you two may exit the Fortress of Mirapede via the regular channels.
It's been so long since we've been to the surface. Let's hurry up and... Huh?
What's happening? I'm fine, thanks. But I wonder what that tremor was just now.
Let's go ask the Duke.
That's the seal not holding. Obviously.
More speed.
Your Grace?
Ah, good to see you two.
Yeah, what was with that earthquake just now?
Ah, that. The tremor didn't originate from the seafloor. Over the years of serving as the warden here, I have developed a sense for distinguishing between what occurs on the surface and what occurs underwater. Besides, the seal that Monsieur Neuvillette set in place won't fail so easily.
So the fortress is okay?
If you recall our last incident, if there really were a problem, there would be crowds of inmates in a panic right now.
Huh, you've got a point. Okay, seems we need to get back up to the surface and ask about what happened. By the way, do you know what day it is today?
I believe today is this month's pipe cleaning day.
Wait, seriously?
Ah, yes.
Yep. It's you two. Are you leaving now?
Sejuin.
That's right! Today is our last day in prison! But now that Paimon says that, it doesn't feel like we were confined here. It's actually been pretty nice! Oh yeah, Paimon... Then be sure to come back and visit!
If you've signed the release papers, then you're free to go. The guards will escort you out.
You're not going to see us off?
I knew you'd ask. All right, sure. Let's go.
Rosalie.
You actually agreed! No worries, you must be busy, but...
Ah, so you do have a polite side, I see.
After being down here for so long, I imagine you must feel like you're lacking companionship. Shall I come along too? Yeah, don't worry, we'll come back to see you.
I hope you won't be here as convicts the next time I see you.
We'll do our best to stay out of trouble. Well, it seems our work in the Fortress of Mirapede is finished. That's the end of another chapter in our journey. And since Neuvillette was the one who asked us to come here, we should probably go report to him now. You're going to see Monsieur Neuvillette? Please pass on our kind regards.
I'm sure just your regards will do.
I believe it would be the polite thing to do.
You're right. I've heard the Palais has been terribly busy these days.
This is what freedom's like.
The Palais Mermonia sure is buzzing with activity today.
Halt! Huh? Oh,
It's you two.
Excuse me. Would you mind helping me take a look at this report?
I'll be right there. Sorry, I've got my hands full. Everyone's so busy.
Hello. You've come at the right time, but you'll have to wait for just a moment, as there are some urgent matters I must tend to first. In the meantime, please, have a seat. If you'd like to have something to drink, let the Melusine outside know.
That's all right. We just ate.
Very well, then.
Let's take a break over there while we wait for him to finish his work.
All right. That should wrap things up for now.
Are you done with your work?
Yes, sorry to keep you waiting. Today should be the day you were released from the Fortress of Meripede, and it appears that you have managed to complete all the release paperwork.
That's right, and we came here to see you right away.
A massive whale.
Do you have any idea what that might be?
Judging from your description, that cannot have occurred in any ordinary waters, but rather something like the primordial sea. A whale of that size and shape cannot usually be found in the waters of Tevat. Therefore, we can only assume that Child is presently immersed in primordial seawater.
Immersed in primordial seawater? But how?
Most people wouldn't be capable of entering in the first place. I'm not completely sure how he could have gotten there myself. Yes? What is it?
Ah, right. Paimon felt it too. We asked the Duke and he said it wasn't from underwater, so...
It turns out that I have just received a report about this particular matter. In fact, that's exactly what I was busy with a moment ago. The source of the tremor was here on the surface near Poisson. After the shaking stopped, the water levels in the Poisson area rose at an alarming rate.
The water levels rose?
Fortunately, the water levels only rose for a short period of time, and have already returned to normal now. If the change in water levels is connected with the leaking primordial seawater, then the situation in Poisson may be much worse than it appears.
Navia should be in Poisson, right? We need to go check on her.
I would also like to go there as soon as possible, but I'm afraid I can't leave just yet. We must immediately formulate disaster prevention plans for the surrounding coastal areas to avoid potential catastrophes. I'll have to ask you two to go to Poisson first. I'll meet you there to check on the situation once I finish things here.
There's no time to lose. Let's get going.
Please be careful.
Navia, we gotta save her.
Oh no. What happened here? Navia should be around here, right?
That's not good.
We haven't seen a single soul all the way here.
What will I ever do now?
Look, there's someone on the...
Just stay put. We're coming up. Watch your balance.
I'm not young anymore.
Oh, he looks pretty sad.
My leg. How could this have happened?
Just hang in there.
More speed.
Navia's fine. Let's go. Oh. Yule's dead. No.
Navia, she's over there. Hey, Navia, are you okay?
You're here.
We heard there was a situation in...
Yes. As you can see, the water level suddenly rose.
Demoiselle! There was a wounded resident next to a building southeast of here. We've already transported him to safety.
He's wounded?
He fell, so it's probably a broken leg.
He jumped down then. Find the leader of Squad 1 and tell him to take the wounded resident to see a doctor.
Understood. I'll take over his search and rescue mission in the meantime.
All right, you'll be in charge. I'm sorry. Right. A little earlier, we suddenly heard a loud noise. At first, everyone thought that something might have exploded in the waterways. But before we knew it, water started pouring out from everywhere. The rushing water seemed a little odd, almost like the unique color of primordial seawater. Some people didn't realize the danger and thought it was just ordinary water. Everyone on the street who happened to be close to the water didn't have a chance to escape. As the water levels rose, they suddenly disappeared. Those who realized what was happening started to flee in a panic, desperately trying to get to higher ground. Many were injured in the stampede, and some people fell from significant heights. The Spina di Rosula initiated rescue operations as quickly as possible, but there have been a lot of casualties. Fortunately, the water began to recede after some time, and the chaos came to an end. The water that flooded the area contained primordial seawater, so the lower levels of Poisson are still hazardous. To ensure everyone's safety, I've asked the people there to leave as soon as possible. No one knows if this could happen again. All we can do for now is try our best to help evacuate the residents. We still haven't completed the head count, but we'll have some numbers soon.
How awful. And all of this just came out of nowhere.
It was quite frightening indeed. I only wish that everything that just happened was a bad dream.
Is there any way we can help, Navia?
Thank you for being so willing to help in a moment of crisis like that.
Don't say that, Navia. That's what friends are for.
Demoiselle! We've got a situation here!
Sorry, I need to go for now.
And off she goes.
Okay, the wounded are being tended to, and we finished a preliminary head count. More support has just arrived, so I suppose I finally have a moment to focus on my own matters. Of course, we should remain ready for anything, and continue doing our best to rescue others. I'll be sure to have everyone at the Spina di Rosula ready to render assistance. Traveler, Paimon, would you two accompany me to my father's grave for a moment?
Huh? Right now?
Thank you.
Quick, under the umbrella, or you'll get soaked. You can't risk catching a cold, because it might turn into something more serious, and if that happens... Well, I can't go avenging my clan by picking on the sick now, can I?
Not a lot of people here, huh?
Well, given the time of day and the whole situation in Poisson, Paimon doesn't think there'd be a ton of people here visiting graves.
Right. That's how things are now.
Navia? Navia, what's wrong?
Sorry. I just... Malus and Silver, they won't ever come back here again. What should I do, Papa?
Huh? What happened to them?
Everyone agreed on the rescue plan, but still, I was the one who initiated it. They were helping evacuate the residents, but they couldn't leave in time, and they were caught in the seawater.
What should we do?
I've known them for so long, and I know they weren't afraid. But I could at least hold a funeral for my father, and I know where he rests. But as for Malus and Silver, they're just gone.
Oof.
Everything looks so clean after it rains. Even the gravestones. I didn't expect that you'd enjoy a glass of red wine in front of Master Callus's grave.
I can understand. Besides, the scenery here isn't half bad.
See, it's not just me. I always want to bring something when I visit Papa. Perhaps we might even have a picnic. He wouldn't be angry, would he?
How could Master ever be upset with you, Demoiselle? Yet the cemetery is the home of those who have passed, is it not? Everyone ends up here sooner or later, no matter who you are.
Buying yourself a plot in advance, are you?
No need yet. But when I do, I hope you'll let me be buried beside Master Callus, Demoiselle.
Hey, stop joking around.
I'm quite serious. That way, it'll save us both the trip to see each other whenever you visit your father's grave.
That makes sense. In that case, could I be buried on his other side?
After all, besides you, Demoiselle, the two of us could certainly be considered Master's closest companions, no?
Personally, I believe we fill those shoes just fine.
Why are you bringing this up all of a sudden? Seriously. All right, but I'd really prefer not to talk about this stuff. And what do you mean by saving me a trip? I'd make the journey even if I had to visit you two somewhere else.
I'd promised to let them rest in peace here. But here I am breaking that promise. I'm sorry for letting you see me in a mess like this.
Paimon doesn't know how to help you feel better. But, well, she understands how you feel.
I had always thought I could make my wishes come true. But now that I think about it, that never solely relied on me. Many things can only be accomplished with someone else's help. Malus and Silver have helped me so much. But by contrast, I could do nothing for them, so...
You can spend as much time as you need here, Navia. We'll stay with you.
Thank you. Right now, you don't know how much that means. By the way, you can have a look at this.
Obana, Khan, Burnett,
Oh my
Vernie,
goodness.
Francine, Karina, Daisy Ray. So, everyone else is safe. But still...
It's okay. I know what you're thinking. And you're right. We lost Malus and Silver. But we were able to save more than we anticipated. The overall outcome indicates that the cost was worth it.
Right. Don't think that way, Navia. One person might be saved at the expense of another, sure, but that isn't something we should ever consider a trade. Malus and Silver were not the price for saving anyone. They're heroes.
You're right. Think what you said just now was pretty amazing, actually. I'll remember your words.
Oh, really?
Seems you've become more eloquent in the time since we last met.
The knave? What are you doing here?
Ah, is everything going well on your side?
Yes,
My people are carrying out the mission according to your request. All the residents of Poisson have been evacuated, and we're preparing to relocate them to higher ground. As for these supplies, we have everything taken care of. There is no need to worry.
Thank you very much.
Wait, do you two know each other?
We just met recently. Right, Miss Navia?
Usually, I would call this a coincidental encounter. But that doesn't quite fit this time. Besides, it never even crossed my mind that a Fatui Harbinger would come looking for me. Thanks to the Knave, Spina di Rosula received generous support from the Fatui, which allowed us to complete the rescue and evacuation work so quickly.
Mutual aid is essential to fostering positive developments. We were already in the area, in any case, so it was nothing. That said, I must say that you're a lot sharper than you let on. I'm sure you understand what I mean.
I apologize for all the ways in which I tested you previously. We've never worked with a Fatui before, and it's extremely important for us to know who we're working with. My subordinates have reported that Fatui soldiers have been observing water levels and taking head counts in various locations. I hear that they've also prepared a large amount of emergency supplies.
This is nothing to brag about, nor do I intend to. It is simply the way of powerful organizations to act forcefully, whether they are doing good or ill. As I've told this traveler before, I know of the prophecy, and I intend to prevent the impending disaster. Lending your organization a hand was a natural first step in accomplishing that. As such, do not be troubled by this token of our sincerity. Perhaps one day, you'll also be able to help me in the same way.
Without your help, there would have been many more casualties. I won't forget your kindness.
Furthermore, I sincerely regret what happened to Malus and Silver. I only wish that my people could have arrived a little earlier to prevent this from—
Don't say that. You and your subordinates did everything you could. As Paimon said, Malus and Silver didn't choose to sacrifice themselves for any specific person. And they weren't the price paid for other salvation. They chose to become heroes themselves. I've never liked hearing people put it that way. It's like trying to relieve pain by saying some noble-sounding words. But right now, there's nothing more suitable. They really did become heroes.
You're right. I'm sorry for your loss, Miss Navia. Water is life to Fontaine's people, and it also spells disaster. It's no wonder that people always say that prophecies represent fate. Fortunately, I've never been one for such opinions.
So, you're one who will try to change fate then?
Of course. That is why I'm going to Hotel Bouffe de Thé. I still have some things to take care of, and the children need my attention. By the way, Traveler, Paimon, one more thing.
Alright, then we'll just...
That is a clever and useful conversation technique, which I do like to use when necessary. But there's no need today. It would not hurt to have Miss Navia listening in. Traveler, I'm sure you remember that I said we could work together when we had the chance. You and I both know that there may be issues with the Primordial Sea. Previously, it was the Fortress of Meripede's sluice gate, and this time it was the water levels in Poisson. These are both signals. Indeed. Allow me to share the latest intel I've received from the House of the Hearth's intelligence network with you. During some recent investigations, a child claimed to have discovered some ruins near Poisson. The ruins date back to ancient times, and seem to be worth investigating in... Judging by the dating of the ruins, they may be related to the prophecy and the coming crisis. The situation is becoming more urgent, so any pertinent information will prove extremely precious. My people initially came to prepare for ruin exploration. Unexpectedly, this disaster struck. And at present, we're all busy prioritizing the rescue effort.
So that's why the Fatui were already in Poisson.
I wanted to take the children along, but unfortunately, Linny, Lynette, and Fremine have all been dispatched to higher ground to assist affected residents. Linny told me that outside of the house, the person they trust most is you, which is why I want to give you this task. The House of the Hearth's members see each other as family, but Linny, Lynette, and Fremine said that they also see you as such, even though you are not from the house. I'm sure you already understand how earnest they consider their friendship with you to be.
Oh, that somehow makes Paimon feel kinda happy.
The intel I just shared about the ruins could fetch a high price. But since the children consider you family, it's only natural that I freely share it with you.
Got it! So all we gotta do is go to some ruins, right? We can handle that.
Excuse me, but may I tag along?
You wish to join, Miss Navia?
But are you sure you're up to exploring some ruins? You need to rest.
Well, I'm sad, yes. But I can't just go back and plop myself into a chair by the roadside and do nothing. There's no point in being depressed while we still have a disaster on our hands. As my father's successor, I must live up to the hopes he had in me. Besides, I'm also doing this for myself. I need something, a distraction, to keep my mind off Malus and Silver.
Since you put it that way, I have no objections. All right. The ruins are to the south of Poisson.
Okay, the three of us will handle it.
This will be the fastest way here.
More speed.
So, are these the ruins the knave was talking about?
They seem to be pretty ancient.
Let's go in and have...
Just speak.
That's hilly trails, and it's a... oh no.
Illusion shot! Strike a pose!
Nice and spicy!
Let's light it up!
Floor here isn't safe!
Shine down!
This place has also been contaminated by...
Yeah. And a lot of it, too. A Fontanian would most likely dissolve the moment...
Right! You can't go down if there's primordial seawater. It's too dangerous, and it won't be any help for you to just stay here. Don't get by my wrong.
No, you're right. I can't do anything in this situation. I'll leave this to you. That complicates things.
In that case,
The water levels here are unstable, and there's a... I'll go together with you. Perhaps we'll find the exit just up ahead.
all right. Oh no, it's a dead end! Let's try climbing over from the side.
Wait, there's something wrong with this bridge. Run!
Demoiselle? Huh? Demoiselle, what are you doing here by yourself?
Maybe she just wants some time to herself, my lord.
Yes, it would appear so.
That's quite possible.
Oh, right. It must have... This is a familiar feeling.
Is something the matter, Demoiselle?
Oh, no. I was just trying to recall...
Do you remember Mr. Giverny?
We were headed to see how things were going with him at the moment.
Ah, right. Yes.
Oh, Miss Navia. Ah, Mr. Malus. And Mr. Silver, too. It's good to see all of you.
How have you been?
I've been great. They were knocking at my door.
Sometimes for...
Oh, yes. Miss Navia, these are some flower seeds that I prepared. Please take them. I don't know what we would have done without your help.
Did you cultivate them yourself?
Why, we can have as many pots as you'd like, Demoiselle.
Perfect. In that case, we'll swap out some of the decorative plants for some of Mrs. Burnett's flowers.
Very well.
Wait. Excuse me, madam.
That's right.
No, it's nothing. This is the first time we've ever met, but I've heard this name before. And why are there so few people around here?
We must mind the time, Demoiselle.
Huh? We do?
Well, now, did you...
Miss Navia, here you are! My trial?
Yes, she's right, Demoiselle. It's just about time.
Oh?
Look, it's Navia!
And her two attendants are with her. Goodness, everyone's finally here.
There sure are a lot of people here to see the trial. And they all seem to be oddly... Karina, Desiree, Joyville, Jolien, Essen. Why are so many... And as for the judge... huh?
Please sit in the defendant's seat. Don't worry, Silver and I...
All right. But are you sure you...
Typically, it wouldn't be allowed, but...
Hey, what kind of place do they think this is?
Come on, do they have any idea what they're...
Enough with the whispering!
My dear Miss Navia, have you not yet As all here know, you are Master Callus's successor. After you took over the Spina, you treated all of us just like the late... Not only you, but your butler, your subordinates...
Wait a moment.
Yes, correct. Absolutely right. And that is why you stand accused. We are one big family, all of us who are from Poisson. Therefore, this fair and honorable court shall declare you guilty.
Huh? Everything you have said is correct. I have indeed done a lot for my hometown.
Ah, well.
How I know all these people. Why are they laughing?
I seem to remember.
Wait just a moment. This isn't right!
Malus?
What was that, Mr. Malus? Our conclusion is very clear and unanimous. Let the court judge her now.
Stay here, Navia! You're one of us!
Demoiselle, don't admit guilt. This trial means to keep you here forever.
I wish to exercise my right to defend Our Lady. Mr. Joinville, you only know of Navia's goodness, but nothing of her utterly independent mind.
She was born a free and independent spirit. She has never been tied down by anything.
Her actions cannot serve as proof that she identifies herself as part of any group. Please do not mistake her act.
Really? As an individual, you say? Don't forget, we are all Fontanians here. Even if Miss Navia only voluntarily rendered her assistance, that doesn't change the fact that her beautiful soul must return to everyone. Everything is measured here and then. Now I speak for everyone. Our opinion is consistent. Navia should stay.
And you would call this justice? Preposterous. You are merely jealous that Demoiselle still has a chance to exist as an individual. Have you forgotten how much you all once longed to become individuals?
Do you mean to defy our justice?
If your justice is flawed, then why should we acknowledge it?
As you said, we can also have our own justice. Silver and I shall defend Demoiselle, and that is how we will enforce justice.
Ugh, my head.
Demoiselle.
Silver, it hurts. I remember now. Everything that seemed odd, Karina, Desiree, Joyville, Jolien, Essen, and Mr. Giverny and Mrs. Burnett, who we met earlier, even Malus and Silver. I don't want to admit it, but they're all dead.
Don't be afraid, and don't admit guilt.
Absurd! Who are you to say that she cannot be judged? Don't let them escape! We shall keep—
Mr. Malus and Mr. Silver, must you be so stubborn? How could the two of you possibly hope to stand against the collective? Do not resist. This judgment is fair and just. Navia belongs to us. After all that happened, she should not be left alone in Poisson.
What are you saying?
No more excuses!
He says we're jealous. Jealous? How could she possibly—
What's with these people? Who's jealous of her?
She belongs to us! Miss... No...
Silence!
That's... Monsieur Neuvillette!
Such commotion is prohibited in the court. The accusations you just presented are nonsense, and the court will adjourn for the rest of the day.
Our thanks, Miss...
Please leave with me, Miss Navia. Well...
But...
Go on now, Demoiselle. This is your only chance to leave this place. What, can't bear...
Loose.
My apologies. I couldn't resist making one little joke once I realized that this shall be our last goodbye.
Malus... Silver...
Quickly, you must come now.
Goodbye, Demoiselle.
Farewell.
Oh. Oh, no.
No, wait! Just a second!
Navia?
You're awake. Good.
I must have been dreaming. Malus and Silver were still alive, and they were defending me at some insane trial.
It looks like you're all right.
Did all this bad feelings cause you to have a nightmare?
The ruins you were exploring suffered a cave-in. When I arrived, I found you falling toward the water. You were just about to be dissolved within, but I think I saw 2 Oceanids protecting you. It was only for a moment, perhaps even a fraction of a second, but they gave me the chance to retrieve you. Were it not for their intervention, I would not have been able to rescue you before your consciousness dissipated.
Wait, did you say Oceanids? You mean like what happened with Vache?
Perhaps those 2 Oceanids were the people you saw in your dream.
I always told them that they didn't have to protect me. To think that they'd keep doing so even after death.
Please come with me.
Neuvillette, are you okay?
Oh, I am quite all right.
Why do you look so stiff all of a sudden? Oh, Paimon knows.
I merely thought that we should give Navia some time to herself.
Huh? Why didn't you just say so then?
I suppose so. Ah, Sigewinne. I hope all is well with her these days. Her work in the Fortress of Meropide has not been too much for her, has it?
No way, don't worry. She's doing fine down there.
I see. Well, that is good. I have always worried that Sigewinne would need a lot of time to understand the world of humanity, just as I have.
Oh, and the Duke also says hi. Even though Sigewinne made him do that. He hopes that you haven't been overwhelmed by all that's happened lately.
Thank you. I have indeed been busy lately.
He still doesn't know what to talk about. So, Neuvillette.
Yes, of course.
This isn't going anywhere.
Yes, in fact. I had arranged to meet you in Poisson, but when I arrived, I discovered that the Fatui were helping the residents evacuate. Amid my astonishment, I ran into the knave, and we had a chat. She informed me that she had asked you to investigate the ancient ruins here.
Yeah, we originally planned to meet up with you, but we thought you might still be busy with all those official documents. We didn't think exploring the ruins would take very long, and
I'm sorry to have kept you all waiting like that. I'm feeling much better now. I guess we should get going again. Will you come with us, Monsieur Neuvillette?
Yes, if you wouldn't mind my company.
Adventure time.
Ooh, it zoomed out quite a bit.
oh no, another unstable path. Watch your step. Watch out! There are rock falls over here! It seems we're almost at the top. Keep it up!
Like Temple Run. You hop in it.
Shower me with praise! Everybody stand back!
Out of the frying pan, into the fire!
Inazuma shines eternal!
Hmm.
Looks like we've reached the end.
This is the place. There should not be any other hidden spaces in the vicinity.
The path sure had some twists and turns, but it turns out that this place isn't actually that big.
Stone slates? It seems like they were put here as an offering.
Perhaps we should just leave them be for now.
There are 4 locations in total, but only 3 stone slates. The slate that should be in the first empty spot is missing.
The surrounding walls also show signs of damage.
There's something written below. Let Paimon see. Reason dictates that this nation be destroyed. I shall record the history of its future here in its past.
It feels like someone left these slates and these words here for a purpose.
That would fit the circumstances dictated by the prophecy, yes. Indeed, the slate's contents correspond to it.
There's a person kneeling here. She seems so dedicated. And there's a whole bunch of other people behind her doing the same.
Is that the Celestia?
She's facing this... what is this? Some kind of island in the sky?
And is that Lady Farina in the third image? Did the Hydro Archon fall into the water?
And is that a ring of people around her? Paimon doesn't quite get it. Are they all in the water?
Is she being sacrificed?
I know this one. This exactly matches the content of the prophecy.
The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain. More information should be hidden in these slates, but I fear I cannot easily uncover it. Most likely due to us missing the first slate.
Don't blame yourself, Monsieur Nervalet.
Ooh, Paimon's getting the chills just looking at these slates. This says that it's the history of the future, right? That means the prophecy's sure to come true.
I really hope it doesn't mean that.
Still...
That's right! If the images are in chronological order, shouldn't the fourth, the waters drowning Fontaine, come before the third, where the Hydro Archon herself falls into the water?
And yet the order is reversed here.
If we go by timing, Lady Farina only emerges in the third image. That means that the person in the second image might be the previous Hydro Archon.
Egeria, then. I had never met her, but her appearance here does match the records. The previous Archon kneeling before the floating island in the skies, as if confessing a sin.
Did she herself commit that sin? Also, I'm still wondering why these ancient stone slates are here at all.
But who would have created these slates and left these words here?
It seems that any further clues will have to come from Farina.
In that case, there's no time to lose.
Yeah, we better get somewhere safe for now.
Someone should have sacrificed.
Off we go!
let's split up here. I'm going to check on what's happening with the Spina.
You still have energy for that now?
Just head back to the Fluvsandre and have a—
I'll depart as well. Thanks for your hard work, Traveler. I will go talk to Farina tomorrow morning to ask about the stone slates. I'm sure that you're concerned about this matter as well. If you have time, drop by my office. I will share the results of our discussion with you.
Are you really gonna talk to her about this directly?
She has long been harboring secrets and will not give them up easily.
Alright, we'll leave it in your hands then.
I will be carefully considering my words tonight.
Traveler, Paimon, our safe house at the Fluvsandre is always open to you as a— All right. I'll be on my way then.
We're finally back!
Welcome back.
Yay! And there's good food too! Navi, Ooh, desserts! Nice! These are all Paimon! Paimon's already starting to forget what happened today.
Wait a minute.
Oh, that voice. Is that who I think it is?
Huh?
Mona?
It's you two. What are you doing in Fontaine?
Mona?
Seriously, nobody just uses a scry glass whenever they've got time to just see who they'll meet on the road.
Still, we didn't expect to see you here.
Well, I have some business to attend to here. Why did you think I was from Fontaine, though? Is that because Magistus doesn't sound much like a Mondstadter surname?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Well, I used to have my own surname, which was, well, some other thing. Either way, the old hag told me when she took me as her disciple that the first step to being a great astrologist's pupil was to change that name. There was nothing for it, really. She really is amazing at astrology, so I changed my name to what it is now according to her wishes. To my surprise, however, Magistus is not the name of some ancient house or clan.
It isn't?
Nope. Although it is used by us in place of surnames, it generally just means great.
Wow! Imagine including a boast in your name.
I reckon so. In any case, I'd give my disciple a name like this as well, if I were to take one. Astromancer Barbeloth Trismegistus.
Whoa, that's a long one. Does it also mean great or something?
My name means Mona the Great Astrologist. As for the old hag, hers is, in plain speech, the thrice-as-great Scholar of the Stars. Just take it as a title specific to astrologists.
Thrice as great? That's so petty.
I know, right? That's just how she is. She used to call herself Magistus, actually, but when she took me in, she changed her name to Trismegistus.
Talk about excessive.
Magistus is thus the calling card of our school, so to speak, which makes it about the same as a surname. It's all right if you don't get it. You can look into it further should you need to study astrology more deeply.
That sounds terrible! But anyway, you're not Fontanian, are you, Mona?
Well, I was born in Mondstadt, yes. My parents migrated to Dornman Port, and I traveled with the old hag for a while, after which I settled down in Mondstadt City.
Oh, that's a good thing then.
Speaking of that, I'm sure you're aware that a bunch of things have happened here in Fontaine, right? I know you're not a local, but I'd avoid getting too close to any water that looks strange all the same. There's something ominous about it. Well, the water, I mean. That was the main reason, yes. Just a while back, the Steambird invited me to take part in a panel and speak about the circulation of the prophecy as an astrologist. The invitation was sent quite early on. I don't think anyone expected Fontaine to be in this much trouble.
Charlotte.
What do you make of that prophecy, Mo?
What I can tell you is that I'm an astrologist. I'm afraid that this is not something that just anyone can do. But on the flip side, the prophecy is so huge and powerful that it must surely come from a powerful visionary.
A visionary?
Of course. The old hag could do it, and I'd bet there are others amongst those Hexenzirkel colleagues of hers who could do something similar.
Huh?
Are you sure? All right, I'll help you.
Thanks, Mona. You're amazing as always.
Oh, well, this is something only I can do after all.
That's the greatest of astrologists for you. Of all the people we know, you know the star's the best.
Indeed. That's the spirit.
Oh, sorry. I came to see what all the commotion was about. If there's anything you need, do not hesitate to inform the Spina di Rosula.
Oh, whoops. Guess we were getting a little too carried away there. Well, I'll go tend to my own business now.
And there she goes, quick as rushing water. And here we are with the Spina guy giving us suspicious looks. If Paimon hadn't spoken for you, it'd be you getting all the weird looks. The things Paimon does for you. That's more like it. Good morning. To be honest, Paimon's still feeling kind of sleepy. But it's time to get up, traveler. We agreed to go see Neuvillette, so let's pack it up and get going.
You're here! Finally!
Is something wrong?
Monsieur Neuvillette and Lady Farina, they seem to have gotten into a dispute.
Uh-oh.
Like I said, I've already explained everything.
And yet the problem has not been properly solved. It is not my intention to offend you, but please, tell me where you stand. You are the Hydro Archon Focalor, are you not? Look at this. This is a list of the victims from the recent Poisson incident.
You mean...
We did not arrive in time to avert this disaster. I will say this once more. You must tell me everything you know. Yesterday, I found 3 stone slates in some ancient ruins near...
Seriously? You're questioning me like this is a court case now. I don't know anything about that. But you found them in some ancient ruins, you say?
That's correct. Which is why I came to ask you some questions. There should have been 4 slates, but one of them was missing. The other... The second of these slates depicts the previous Hydro Archon Egeria kneeling before a floating island in the sky, as if confessing something.
I don't.
I'll ask you again. My deciphering of the slates indicates that the Hydro Archon Egeria once had to confess to, or apologize for, a certain sin. If anyone would know about it, it should be you.
All gods don't have the same secrets, you know. She was herself and I'm me. Is it really so strange that I know nothing? I understand your concerns, but I'm sorry. I just don't have anything to tell you.
Forgive me for saying this now, Lady Farina, but I have long known of your various secret investigations into certain matters. There are several indications that you have been investigating the prophecy on the sly. This is not strange in itself, considering that you are the Hydro Archon. But it is strange that you should also claim to not know any of Egeria's secrets. You have never been as superficial as you have presented yourself to be, nor are you a fool. And yet, your behavior is very inconsistent.
So you've been watching me all this time, have you?
Well, since you know about my secret investigations, there's no point questioning or suspecting me. You're the Eudix, but you're still my subordinate. Just trust in me. You're Archon. That's all I have to say. We do not discuss this. Oh!
Did Farina not notice us standing by the door? What?
I assume you've been outside.
Oh! You noticed!
She was in a great panic, though I cannot discern the reason. Our discussion reached impasses time and again. Still, I do not understand. Dialogue is the basis for understanding, so why did she keep refusing to engage? Everyone in her inner circle has noticed that she is hiding some secret. We may have to create a situation in which...
Oh?
Normally, people will only reveal the truth when standing trial. Perhaps...
But Farina's seen so many trials, and she's really good at dodging questions.
We will need to consider this thoroughly, join forces with various parties. If at all possible, I would prefer to recuse myself from this affair, but we must... This may be cruel to her, but all Fontaine is in crisis. But who will lend us their aid to do such a thing?
Navia or her?
Well, that's everyone, huh? Speaking of which, it was pretty smart of you to think of hiding here.
Poisson was just involved in a disaster, so it's presently devoid of people.
And here you are drinking tea like it's the most natural thing in the world, huh?
That's what family should do.
It's nice to enjoy tea here, you know? Care for a cup?
Lend me your ears, everyone. Or perhaps one of you might like to start us off. How about you, friend?
No.
Then, how about you, good sir?
I fear that I will cause the mood on this boat to become as somber as it is in court.
Well then, I guess we're lucky we've got a local like me to organize things.
That was a little long-winded, don't you think?
Oh, you might be right. Anyway, to cut to the chase, our friend here, the Traveler, has brought us together to discuss something. As for what that is,
So naive. Huh.
Let's start by saying that we'll be pooling our efforts together to create a series of traps.
Oh, how intriguing.
Well, it's just an expression, really. One that I just learned from Chlorand, and used on the spot. So...
Huh? Didn't you say that you would be facilitating this?
Oh, come now. Your work doesn't involve much public speaking, right? This is a good chance to practice. You might even pick up some fancy oratory tricks to impress your boss with in the future.
I see. And what does my boss say?
He is glad that you consider him your boss. Do go on.
Smirk.
In that case, do any of you have experience hunting?
Not that I recall.
Fremine and I once used a wooden stick in a basket to catch wild rabbits when we were younger. As for Lynette, oh, right. You were sick that day, weren't you?
I've also gone diving to catch some fish before. Does that count?
I'm afraid not. You may or may not have heard, but Fontaine once played host to a group known as the Marechaussee Hunters. Though that was their name, they did not hunt animals, but rather various monsters left behind by the ancient dynasty of King Remus. Today, Fontaine's monster population has already thinned greatly, so the hunters have blended back into society, taking up arms in other lines of work. A trap comprises of the following components: bait, a trigger, and a containment device. So, if we were to build a trap together, right now, what would you choose to build it with?
For me, I would prefer something basket-shaped. Pigeons and rabbits will see the bait and naturally enter the snare. Our line of work requires a deft hand, and we're some of the best in the industry, so...
You used some of those techniques while moving the people of Poisson, didn't you? My subordinates mentioned that you even perform some magic for the bawling children.
Yes, and I even managed to gather some intelligence in the meantime. I'm quite the multitasker if I—
I'm afraid I can't claim that as my strong suit. I prefer more stable methods, like placing bait in the water and waiting for the fish to come within reach. That's the kind of method I would count on.
Calm and steady. Exactly the kind of person who would catch loads of fish.
And I can be their assistant.
With discretion, I'm sure.
I'd probably use some sort of mechanical animal. Papa once bought me some small clockwork squirrels, mice, and such. When placed in the forest, they can attract others of their kind. I remember that you liked those too, didn't you?
I did. And that would be a good way to go about it. If they're realistic enough, animals of the same kind will follow them all the way to the trap.
What about you, Monsieur Neuvillette?
I fear I do not have any related experience.
That makes sense. You usually solve problems directly, without the use of any such tricks. But I do have one more question for you, Monsieur. If we were to create a trap now, how would you design it?
I would like for it to be effective, but bring no harm to the prey. A more gentle trap would be ideal.
Kind, as always. However, our intention doesn't necessarily change the containment device and the type of implement we need. If we wanted to kill the prey in one strike, we would need a powerful implement. However, that also goes for prey that must be captured and safely contained.
Wait, why is that?
Only a hunter who's a true expert at subduing their prey can snare it without harming it. The line that divides life and death is often exceedingly thin.
So, are we going hunting together?
We hadn't thought of seeing ourselves as hunters. It kinda works, but maybe it's still not the best metaphor.
If our means of capturing and dealing with our prey is to put them on trial, then the hunting metaphor is actually quite accurate. But we shall require much more courage than any hunter to judge a god, a being whose seat is an exalted throne.
Oh, so that's what's going on.
It's been a tough few days, hasn't it? Paimon didn't think the meetings would go on for so long, but Paimon thought they'd be at least a little frightened. Well, Fremine was, now that Paimon thinks about it, but everyone else just looked a little surprised. It's hard to say. Paimon doesn't have any experience with this sort of thing. After all, you're the most reliable person in the world, aren't you? Did you just pour some tea? Then what's that? Paimon's never seen that cup before.
Don't be frightened. I'm just joining you two for tea.
Who's that?
Aw.
Wait, you are familiar. You're
The voice from the sky, Huh. You're feeling lost now, just as you were feeling previously. I sensed that confusion and thus came to you. Consider me a passerby, just accepting a commission from my friend's disciple on a whim. The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future.
What?
I believe you have witnessed a failed attempt with your own eyes. Can everything in Tevat so easily be changed? Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners where the gods' gaze does not fall? Are the things that you shall see different from the fate that the gods perceive?
What is she talking about?
I believe that you understand, right? Some things are insignificant, but others you must reach out to change. Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tevat's future. This was good tea by the
voice. Hey, it's you who's getting lazy.
Well, I see I've walked in on some lively banter.
Mona!
Fine, just fine. Not all Fontanians are pessimistic about this.
Did she have pink hair by any chance?
Why, yes. I'm in full support of her view.
That's right!
Ah, yes. About what we had discussed before. Huh? Goodness gracious. Are you serious?
She said that even the god's gaze has blind spots.
The Hexen Circle members are certainly anything but ordinary. As for the mage named N, the old hag has mentioned her a few times, but I've never met her, and if she were still alive, she'd be... well, suffice it to say that the hag's at least a few hundred now, and N's been around for longer than that.
Whoa. The Hexen Circle sounds like a scary group.
Their abilities alone are pretty...
Well, it's not like Paimon could understand anything.
Yes, she was quite cryptic, but I suspect she means that there is still a way to turn things around. She didn't say when or what that would be, though. Perhaps it is something that you cannot know right now. Traveler, Paimon, are you two all right?
Oh, we're fine. We're just a little down right now.
I see. I guess you could consider me someone who has often witnessed fate. But even so, I still hope for and believe in miracles. Perhaps that's what N was trying to tell you. I did originally think of steering clear of all this, but I couldn't.
Huh. You do have a point.
There I go, talking about astrological principles again. Sorry about that. The moment I start talking about work-related stuff. It was worth trying to comfort you. I suppose that might be why we always seem to meet by coincidence.
Paimon feels kind of moved by what Mona said. Hey, Traveler. Paimon suddenly feels like going outside for a walk. Let's walk around the city, shall we? There's a few huh? Let Paimon see! The underwater stronghold, the Fortress of Meripede, has continued in its noble autonomy. But that does not mean that my recent attempts to enter the fortress bore little fruit. Huh. Thus, did an Outlander friend become the focus of this report? A blonde adventurer with their white fairy So while the fortress's interior remains a mystery behind closed doors, journalist Charlotte's biggest scoop yet. Huh. Charlotte took so many awesome photos of us, she hasn't been able to get a hold of anything at the fortress, so since we're easier to find, she's using us as the subject matter instead? Ugh, seriously? Well, fine. Hey, quick! Look! That's the limited edition only 16 slices a day cake! It was so delicious the last time we tried.
One slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after. Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia.
Oh, are you here to buy cake too? It seems Monsieur Neuvillette was right.
Wait, did he really?
That's right. Even he has his own preferences when it comes to food.
Do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every day?
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from...
Then what if someone told you one day that this place would be closing soon?
But why would it close?
Well, Paimon doesn't know either.
Oh, the prophecy. To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to that. No, it's the same for eating in general.
Huh.
Don't be sad. Excuse me, could I have 2 more slices of cake to go? These 2 slices are for you. Sijuin said that this kind of expression you're making is what humans call being sad.
Oh, you know Sijuin?
I sure do. She was born before me, and she sometimes comes to the surface to teach us things about humans. She said that humans are creatures that are saddened easily. I've got something else to do, so I'll be going now.
And there she goes. All right, let's dig in. Paimon's sure this cake will be delicious. It's more delicious than last time, and the flavor gets even better with a sip of tea. It sure would be nice if we could come again tomorrow. Sure would be nice if we could always eat delicious food here. Oh, we're near the Steambird office. Let's go look for Charlotte and have a chat.
Adventure time! Wow! If it isn't the Traveler and Paimon!
Ha! You've got some nerve! You just used us to make some quick mora!
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I heard that you were in Poisson some time back, so I sent you a letter to discuss just that. It's all right, though. I've set aside the amount intended for you. I've even set the table with some food.
Really?
You're almost a little too easy to win over,
Oh, Paimon knows you're not like that.
Still, what brings you here all of a sudden?
When Mona mentioned you, we thought of coming to see you at work.
I see. It seems you've already bumped into Mona here in Fontaine. So she mentioned me? What did she say?
She said that you're a real daredevil of a journalist.
Nice. In which case, can this daredevil journalist dare to request an
Huh? So your article in the paper today doesn't count?
Oh, of course it doesn't. That was more like live photography. What I'd like to do is dive deeper and ask you to...
Yeah, are we?
Why not? If I say you're worth an interview, then you're worth it.
Oh, in that case...
Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! I'll tell the editor-in-chief immediately. Whew, so much to get done now. Talk to you later.
Wait, Charlotte, Paimon's still got a question for you.
And what's that?
If, just for example...
Huh, that's the prophecy you're talking about, isn't it? I mean, I do hear about it often. If you're seriously asking, then I might try and think of a way to leave Fontaine. Oh, but I'm still a journalist first and foremost. That means I have a duty to be reporting from the scene. And secondly,
I wouldn't forsake. From what I've seen, most people don't know what they'd do should the worst come to pass. In truth, it might be better just to behave like normal rather than worry over such an end. So in all likelihood, I'd probably still be prepping at the office for that interview of ours. I know what you're thinking. Just think about it. If this nation really were to be suddenly destroyed tomorrow, but I still successfully finish an exclusive interview with a truly unique person, then the story I would wind up writing would truly be timeless. And then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that story, send it for printing, and use messenger pigeons to get copies out to the various nations as soon as possible. I'm not a dreamer, nor am I a workaholic, but I do love my job. But anyway, that's my answer.
That's so nice. All of a sudden, Paimon actually kinda envies her. Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we? The sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty... Paimon's been thinking, if it wasn't Fontaine, but all of Tevat that would... No, Paimon should ask if you could choose. We've always been moving to the next destination, so we haven't spent much time thinking about these kinds of things. You mean, still traveling? Huh. Wait, isn't that what we... Feels like you'll grow mold if you stay here long enough. But it's still better than the Fortress of Mirapede, that's for sure.
Ah, so the two of you are still here.
Oh, you're from the Palais Mermonia, aren't you?
Yes, I'm Isadora. Monsieur Nervillet sent me to look for you two before. Not at all. I'm well aware that you're friends of his. Actually, I'm here to pass along a message from him. Yes, inside the Opera House. The Maréchaussée Phantom has declared the incident a small-scale riot.
A riot?
Well, that said, Lady Farina was watching a performance at the Opera House, and while she was resting during an intermission, loudly accusing her of doing nothing about the prophecy. And before she could respond, the crowd continued to grow and protest against the high...
So people have started to put the blame on Farina. Guess they finally found an outlet for the pressure they've been...
I agree. People will naturally rely on gods, as is customary.
So what happened after that is...
Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control, and that further argument was pointless, the Maréchaussée Phantom had their hands full maintaining order, and did not catch where Lady Farina had gone. Only when things had stabilized did we realize that she had gone missing.
So, you mean she's still missing?
That's right. The Maréchaussée has dispatched many people to... That said, I don't think there's much to worry about. Good. Monsieur
Don't worry. This is more than enough to go on. Thanks for keeping us informed.
Ah, is that so?
Well, sounds like we should hurry over to Poisson then. If we know Farina, she won't try to fix things in this situation. And, as we also know, she may be loud and dramatic, but she doesn't have a heart of stone. When Nervillet was talking to her in the Palais Mermonia, and she heard about it would be hard for her to ignore being accused by the public today. Paimon thinks Farina's probably taken the opportunity to slip away to Poisson. Huh. Well, what do you think? In that case, there's not a moment to lose. This place looks deserted. Guess all the survivors must have
Is that her?
evacuated already.
She is down
All
there.
that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Farina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible. That's Farina, right over there.
Should I just give up? This is all meaningless. What was meant to happen did happen after all. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Give up, Farina.
There's no point in holding out. I'm sorry, but what can I even do? Other than to repeat meaningless apologies. Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina, it's... Farina, you were crying just now, weren't you?
What do you mean, tear stains? Who did that they even dare to tout their Archon? Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the marsh still say...
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just some... That's against the rules.
Farina just ran off! Quick, we have to catch up with her! This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here!
What?
Hurry, they're almost here!
Fine. I suppose haste is warranted.
Just getting what she deserves.
No, I mean, I merely gave in to the sheer...
Yep,
what's happening?
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, didn't it?
It can't be.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that.
Yeah, but the people of Poisson... It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds of years. I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues and feeding information back to me. I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea. Anything to keep the coastline from advancing, but we cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will have its way. Give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. It would mean finally coming indeed. I've thought about give fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? But just now, it all became clear to me. As long as the final moment hasn't come, don't worry. I will keep hope alive. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play the stricken maiden, but honestly, considering my rank and station, that wasn't a good fit at all. Don't take any of what I just said seriously.
Come on! Paimon could have sworn...
Cher, that's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my... a witness. And if Tevat is in its entire...
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado...
So this is what it is. Yes, You just do not forget, however, that I am—
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against— I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it.
What the heck is going on?
Wow, how odd.
Lady Farina.
It would seem that there has been a—
Looking for excuse.
I raised my hands just now to— I will admit that I'm sorry, everyone. You are not the only ones to— But now, I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice! This time, I will protect— Applaud and mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine! The trial of the Hydro Archon!
Woohoo! Oh no! Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on. Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic,
all right then.
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so?
Ooh.
Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question before the trial begins, just how much work did you do?
well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the—
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to incite insurrection against you. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. A spark was all we needed to turn smoldering anger into a flame. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely flee the scene and head to Poisson by yourself. So, we arranged for a second group to lie in wait there.
So, you mean the ones who scoured the settlement for me were—
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may
That's right. That house was a magic box.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Areneas, was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary performance. Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water.
So, in other words, the earthquake—
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's pop. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion— Also that as soon as I appeared on the
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. As for you, traveler, you'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived on— Oh? It's fine. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the—
Madam Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Oh, let Paimon see. Wait, then that means this document? So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use something from our journey as evidence for an argument. Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duel you took part in at the Opera House. I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case I'd been following all. This is the first time Monsieur Nervillette had a difference of opinion with the Oratrice. Even the Hydro Archon can't figure it. A Fatui Harbinger. She's an extraordinary person. The fortress of Meripede was almost destroyed in a... According to Monsieur Nervillette, both Child and that whale should have been in the Primordial Sea. I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, that still gives me shivers. The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on! Just fast forward to the... Of course. It is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god.
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Yeah. Even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very identity?
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either.
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling their memory. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to if you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation.
An argument with near impossible odds, huh?
Well, I tried to give... And if I was not the Archon...
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a heart...
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
You sensed it too, huh, Nervillette?
Lady Farina.
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart. Just...
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse.
You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof?
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are—
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, The principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you are also first and foremost the defendant in this trial. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't they?
The real Hydro Archon. It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict that day, but the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally, and it has been operating independently ever since it was first created. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that...
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to...
My power as an
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared.
You don't need...
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you...
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice into Indemnitium! Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives. Have you ever seen a more magnanimous god?
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still be called a god?
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone! Please don't stare at me as if I was a liar. I'm still the same Farina, please.
If what the prosecutor said is true...
Did she deceive all of us? Enough! That's enough. Tell me then, if you have no evidence of...
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. That doesn't sound right. It has been established that all fun...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to...
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, taking many lives, including those of some of my closest friends. So, Miss Farina, if we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro God, if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us.
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is...
She's just staring at the...
What's going on? Is she...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina.
Hey! I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now?
Miss Siegewin, if you're present...
Siege, Win, don't be nervous. That should be...
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court, Miss...
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. These indicate that she was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater.
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Farina...
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get to
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, on the off chance that something entirely unexpected might occur, we don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to serve as an expert witness. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used.
I can't believe... Listen to me, everyone. Think about it. Also, if I was really just a human, why would I... Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me. I swear, I really am your Archon.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any way left for Farina to win.
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone who's two-stepped against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charge. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Farina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus: the Hydro Archon, guilty to be punished via the death sentence.
The death sentence?
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an unexpected twist.
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us the truth.
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its recommendations for criminal sentences, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Vacher wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Farina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first place.
Is the trial still going?
Fremine, You finally made it. I assume this means you've completed your mission?
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me will always be top priority.
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremenade to try and find the missing slate.
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long time to get around some dangerous stretches of water. But has the trial already concluded? Then doesn't that mean I've come too late?
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremenade. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate. Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates.
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been kinda talking about?
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the... The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turning. Does that mean that Fontainians are transformed Oceanids? The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontainians were branded with their original sin. The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people. Huh. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone else? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontainians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first. That doesn't sound...
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that Fontainians can be dissolved in primordial seawater. And the first stone slate tells us that long ago this might be the... Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before, and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celestia as It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When Navia fell into the sea, her consciousness was subjected to judgment. The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society, but not many people believed it at first. The fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontainians to dissolve. If we hadn't dealt with it in time,
they'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the form of an Oceanid. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that her sin was actually Fontaine's original sin. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take part in a trial meant to make her stay. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meripede was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what.
Yes, indeed, the Oratrice Mécanique de l'Anise Cordonelle.